Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick, and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of Bitcoin, taking a look at what's been going on most recently, what we think is going to be happening next, and all that wonderful stuff. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Now if you have not yet joined us in Discord, the link is in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. And if you are looking for a little bit more from the crypto space, why not check out the Patreon services as well in the description below. We actually offer a lot more for the Patreon members via the Discord server, everything from AMAs twice weekly through to project reviews, what Chris and myself are doing in terms of buying, selling and staking, trading, and a whole host of additional things. So if that sounds of interest to you, why not check it out? And also join us down in the Discord server, because we are running a couple of competitions with BitGet and Bybit for, well, I'll leave it for you to surprise yourselves with that when you go down into the Discord server. So let's go ahead and make a start with this though, right? So Bitcoin paired up with USDT on the hourly chart, and Binance is the data source. And, you know, we're going to follow on from what we're talking about with the live stream on Twitch this morning, which I'll put in the link in the description below if you're interested in catching up in more detail over what has been going on. But we're talking about how the sentiment was actually kind of feeling a little bit more on the bearish side, and therefore a break to the upside actually seemed logical. But at the same time, I'm not overly convinced that we're done with correcting down just at this moment in time. So I still think there's going to be another test to the downside. Now, as you can see the trend line here, we actually did kind of just break above it just a little bit, but I don't think this is actually going to be long-lived. Essentially, I'm looking at this as a big three-wave structure after this wick from yesterday, kind of taking everything out and grabbing that liquidity. And that being said, you know, we're going to kind of leave a couple of these structures in place for a little bit longer, just to kind of see how things kind of play out over the next kind of couple of days. So over the weekend, how are things going to go? And typically speaking, the weekends are slow, the volumes are low. So we're just going to see if there's any kind of major setups or changes within the structures before we kind of recount where our waves are currently sat. So let's go actually dive into the stochastic RSI, right? What are the major concerns? Well, the hourly chart is overbought now, okay? It hasn't exactly done a lot of price movement to become overbought again. So we're looking for some kind of potential B wave movement to still come down lower here. I'm not sure this is done yet. And this is what we're talking about this morning before we actually have this this kind of bigger move to the upside. Now, the move up at the moment is literally, I just think, to liquidate some of those short positions before actually pushing the price down. Now, the 4-hour chart is also overbought. So again, we're not getting a lot of confidence in terms of momentum to the upside when things are already progressed from oversold to overbought on such a short space of time. Now, we can still push up a little bit more, as you can kind of see these green candles right here, for example, but there's a bit of a timer on this thing. It's going to stay overbought for maybe for a few hours. So by the time this video goes out, we may have surged up a little bit more before pulling back down, or we may have just started pulling back to the downside. But I'm not overly confident in Bitcoin right now, considering how fast it's gone from oversold to overbought. That is not a good indication that there's a lot of buyers lining up. Okay, now the other buy area is still highlighted down here on the charts. Again, 18,899 to 18,971. That hasn't changed. That's the last area where we saw a lot of accumulation, other than this wick taking us down a little bit lower. So I am looking for this progression to the upside. I'm just not confident we're going to see it anytime soon. So let's go ahead and focus in on this for a second here. What I'll do is I'm going to remove this off, and we're just going to reflect on this structure, looking, let me grab the right tool, like this one here, A, B, and C, like so, okay? This is going to bring us down into this lower B wave. Now, if I do Fibonacci retracement tool on this, and we move over to this existing high just here, you can see us moving down towards that 19,040, 19,060, maybe 70, 68 approximately. Okay, so that's going to be about there. So that would be running on this existing high, but this could still push up higher. Binance loves everything to be on the exact to the penny, so I wouldn't be surprised if we push up a little bit more here before pulling back down. Now, with that being said, let me remove some of these noisy parts off the chart. In fact, I might remove that for a second as well, just to clean this up a little bit. One of the other things that I do want to kind of point out is the area just over here. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw this on. just here. So as you can see, this current candle at point of recording, this is only just started. So I'm recording this about 15 minutes before it goes live, right? And so when this goes live, this candle is going to close. And the question I have is, does it close inside this yellow box or not? Okay, let me know in the comments below as to what that did and whether you saw this coming or not. But essentially here, we've wicked up into this box, and this means that there's a high area of supply here. Okay, we're closing below it, and obviously here we've wicked into it. We're currently sat inside here at the moment. Are the sellers getting exhausted, or are the sellers going to take control and pull the price back down to the lower ranges? Okay, now I don't think we're going to go all the way down that low, but I think we're going to come back down. And again, we can do the same exercise just down here. And this is why I think we're trading in a range over this weekend. Let me just pull this in. So I'm not expecting terribly too much. You can see here, this was an area of buying. So we have the sellers, we have the buyers, and one of these is going to crumble. Okay, so the question just becomes which one. Okay, so essentially here, I think this is probably going to close below. It's going to trigger us to move on down, and we'll be looking at coming into this range down here. Now we can of course come down to this range as well. There's a lot of volatility in here, not a lot of people really knowing what to do, buyers and sellers all kind of interacting with each other, and there's a bit of a drop in between. So this is going to be an interesting kind of thing for Bitcoin today. I mean, are we just going to trade sideways, and are we going to correct down, right? Because essentially, if I just zoom back out of this, one of the two things that's going to happen, we're going to have to bring our daily, our hourly, and our 4-hourly charts down a bit in order to allow us to grow back up, because I do think we have to come up into this higher area at some point. I do think this is just an ABC structure to the upside, but we need to obviously allow for corrections to occur. So I'm expecting something like this to occur here, and for that to happen, we have to kind of come down a little bit lower. We're probably going to break this area here and potentially even retest this lower range down here as well. So I'm not expecting it, but it's possible. Considering the 4-hour chart has only just come up into this overbought area as well, waiting for this reversal in time. The 8-hour chart progressing out of the oversold area, but I'm not too worried about that at the moment. And the daily chart's actually pretty good as well. So what we're looking for is we're looking to kind of have this run to the upside, but I think we have to kind of correct down before we can do it. So yeah, I'm thinking there's still progression to the upside to be had. And then once done, we can talk about moving back down, because I still think there's room to the downside to be had as well. Nothing moves in straight lines by any stretch of the imagination. So this is all looking pretty good. I'm just expecting some kind of volatility, not much over the weekend, just the kind of usual kind of stuff that we expect. And the fact that the volumes are so low, the stochastic RSIs overreact. And so we'll just kind of trade sideways, potentially revisit the lows if we need to, and then rally up into this box here, potentially tomorrow or even maybe even next week to kind of get up there. Once that is done, then we can talk about breaking back down again after that. So the market isn't giving me a lot of confidence right now, but it is what it is. If you are looking for more details, as I said, I'll link in the description below the Twitch stream that we did this morning, where we talk about all the stuff that's going on chain in terms of the whales, what we think that's looking like at the moment, what we think is going to be happening there, all the way through to the sentiment and kind of what people are feeling like, longs and shorts and liquidations and all that kind of stuff. So if that's of interest, check that out. But for the most part, my expectations are a bit of a boring weekend, unfortunately. A little bit of volatility, but not too much. And basically, yeah, eventually a move to this higher area. Now, I could, of course, be wrong, and we just, for some random reason, just rally right up there and take that out. You can already see that we're pushing a little bit higher here on the charts. So, yeah, it's possible that we can just go and do that. I mean, it's moving pretty well at the point of recording this video, so I won't end it until we kind of see what's going on with that. But you kind of get the idea, just to kind of see whether or not we do push up. My expectations are, though, that we break down before we push up again, and it'll be one of those that we kind of keep a close eye on. But I'm not expecting much this weekend, just expecting sideways trading. And this particular candle, is it going to close inside this box? If it does, that's going to be pretty bullish, and we might actually start to see a bit more progression to the upside. Failing to do so, it's probably just going to be deemed a bit more negative and more selling pressure. And the question really just becomes is whether the supply here is going to get soaked up or not. When I throw on the HTF liquidity, we can see that there's pockets of liquidity around here. Again, these are all on these swing high points, as you can kind of see these swing highs, and people use those for their stop losses. And then down, there isn't actually terribly too much outside of this area. There's a little bit down here, right, using these lows, and this one using this low, this one down here, for example. But there isn't terribly too much, so I'm not expecting much to happen, right? The liquidity-wise, I would expect more to stack up before bigger moves are made, right? Let's let the positions kind of lie, get people in either going long or going short, and then you'll see the market move. So not a lot in terms of what is going on from the liquidity indicator, the HTF liquidity. That's not giving me any kind of clear indication. This move seems to get in smacked down at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on that. But for the most part, that's kind of my thoughts on Bitcoin, guys. I'm going to leave it right there. If you found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.